But by the time he gets there, this Sahabi has passed away. So he runs back to the second Sahabi. He goes to him, and by the time he gets to him, he is now also passed away. The third day he goes to his own cousin, and he is also passed away. They were willing to give everything for each other. This is how united they were. And one of our elders, he always mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help is in two things. One is giving individual da'wah to each other, and one is in unity. Sahaba, they were willing to give their lives to each other. We read and we hear again and again that at the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Medina, there was no restaurants and there were no hotels. When people would come, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say, "You will host this person today." And some Sahabi would say, "Okay, I'll take him home." So for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, they would take him home. Once someone comes, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "You will host this person today. No one has anything in them. You will feed this person today." So one Sahabi says, "Okay, I will take him home." So he goes home and tells his wife that I'm bringing a guest home today. She says, "But we don't have anything at home." He says, "We have nothing at home." She said, "We have just a little bit just for the children." So he says, "Oh, just lull the children to bed. Just lull them to bed, they will fall asleep. Just put them to bed but we will feed the guest." So this guest comes. The children, they put to bed and they feed this guest. Themselves, the husband and wife also stay. The next morning when this Sahabi, he goes, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gives him the glad tidings that this ayat has been revealed in the Quran, that they prefer others amongst themselves, even though themselves they are in poverty. This was the 11th Sahaba. So my dear respected brothers and elders, how did they get to this level? These were the same people, we have to remember that before Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came and made an effort on them, they were killing each other left, right and center. There's so much jahiliyyah that just because your animal drank the water of my animal or drank the coal of my animal, they would go and kill someone. And they would kill someone there. Like this feuds mentioned in the book, over 100 years these feuds would go on. Sometimes you wouldn't even know why these feuds are going on, they just keep on killing each other. And it's so backwards. But what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did, as soon as he got prophethood, he made the effort of Iman. He made the effort of the Iman, the effort and the hearts of the people, the Sahaba. You have to understand that Islam, the total Islam, comprises of 5 things. Everything can be categorized into these 5 subgroups. If we sit with the ulama, they will explain to us in more detail. This is, first of all, is imaniyat or beliefs. Then is the ibadat, the worship. Then is akhlaq and muamalat and muashara. Our character, how we deal with people, how we live in society, these things. So all this comprises the whole of the Sahaba. They had all these things in their lives. Today, unfortunately, we don't understand that all these aspects of deen have to come into our lives. All these 5 aspects have to come into our lives. Not just ibadah. This is what we make the majority of our effort on. The worship, namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, all these things. But we forget the other 3 things. Or akhlaq, or ma'amulat, and muashar. We forget about this. And the imaniyat, we have iman, alhamdulillah, all of us have iman. But what we fail to understand is that iman needs an effort. One brother, he gave a very good analogy. This happened to me 2 weeks ago here. Because we all think we have, we are Muslims. We have iman. So the analogy he gave, he said, the same way we all have iman, we all have money also. Isn't it? All of us here have some sort of money. Why do we go to work? Why do we go to work if we already have money? The reason we go to work is because we want to, first of all, protect that money we already have and then earn more money. Why? Because the money we have doesn't suffice for the things we want. We may want to, upgrade our car or our carpet or this or tend to children here, there. So for this, we go to work to increase this wealth. The same way, the iman that we have may not be sufficient that we may answer our questions in the grave correctly. Allah knows best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that all believers believe, asking us to make effort on our iman. Mentions all believers believe. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu. All believers believe. Like a person, maybe it sounds better in our own language, but a person, he says to his son, bandaban. You call this bandaban. He's already a banda. He's already a person. But he's not doing the things that a person should be doing. He's messing about. His father says, or his mother says, bandaban. We have iman, but maybe we're not doing the things that the people of iman should be doing. Because someone mentioned just on Tuesday here, well, one of the elders mentioned before here in this markaz as well, that when iman is low, maybe the person, he will be able to still praise 5 times Salah. Maybe he will be able to fast in Ramadan. But what will happen is he will struggle to stay away from sin. He will struggle to stay away from sin. When a person, he goes out, the way he should be talking, the way he should be looking, the way he should be listening, maybe these things we have a deficiency. Maybe our iman is not in that level where it needs to be. Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they understood this. This is why they would get together and they would make effort of iman. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to them, that to the Sahaba, that you should refresh your iman. Sahaba radiallahu anhu said, how do you refresh your iman? He said, keep talking about this kalima, la ilaha illallah. So today, we ask ourselves, in the past 24 hours, how much did I speak about la ilaha illallah? Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they're talking, even in the masjid, they would have halqas of iman. Even outside in the bazaars, they would be talking about iman. They would be talking about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so that the akhirah, the yaqeen of the akhirah became so embedded in their hearts. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wakes this sahabi up, he says, oh Haritha, how did you spend the morning? To the nearest people. He said, with iman. He says, oh Haritha, what is your example of it? What is your evidence for this? Every statement has an evidence. What is your evidence? He says, my evidence is that I spend the day thirsty, fasting, and I spend the night standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I can imagine, I can see the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being brought forward. And I can see the people of Jannah, they're congratulating each other and they're smiling and they're happy. I can see this. I can imagine this. And I can imagine, I can see the people in Jannah. They're crying and they're wailing. This is the level of the pain they have in these things. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to the nearest being that, you ask for iman and have istiqamah on this, steadfast on this. This was the yaqeen of the Sahaba. And once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was sat with Sahaba, and he mentioned an ayat of the Quran that all believers, save yourselves and your families from the fire of Jahannam, of which the fuel is humans and stones. So one Sahabi, he asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, O Nabi of Allah, what will the stones of Jahannam be like? They all would have had the jazba to know. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the nearest me that if you were to accumulate all the mountains of this world, they would equate to one rock of Jahannam. So this person, he was so much disturbed by this that he collapsed. And then he got up, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his hand mubarak on his chest, he recited the kalima, and then he passed away. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the fear of the fire of Jahannam has taken the soul away. Now this Sahaba, they would ask about Jannah. One Sahabi, Bedouin, sitting and he asking Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned something about Jannah, he starts asking. What will this be like in Jannah? So Umar radiallahu anhu said to him, look, this is the Nabi of Allah, stay a bit quiet. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, Umar, leave him. He has jazba, he has interest let him ask. He keeps on asking. He keeps on asking, and he gets so happy. He's asking, about the grapes of Jannah. The grapes of Jannah, how many people will it feed? Will it feed my whole family? Will it be able to feed my whole clan? One grape? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about Jannah, and then he passes away with the happiness of Jannah. Today, the places, if I have to say to anyone that this place called Australia doesn't exist, you all think that this person who says this is a fool. Most of us probably have not been to Australia, or yaqeen is built that this place exists. We're buying a house, a person, he knows what this is. Explain it to someone that, although he may not have seen it, he knows that, he has this many rooms, this room is this big, this is this. Sahaba knew they were going to Jannah. They wanted to know about this. They would sit for hours and hours speaking about this. So it's important that in Jannah, your door of your house, for 40 years you will just be looking at, this is how we do it. For 40 years. Then the angels will say, do you not want to come inside? See what's inside this. So they understood that they were going, and this is why many Sahaba who read in Hayat al-Sahaba, the stories of Sahaba, that when they were dying, they were happy to die. They would say one Sahabi is passing away, and he said, soon I will go and I will meet Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I will meet my Sahaba. Because they had invested in Jannah. A person is being deported from a country to another country, we go from this country to another country, and we're not having a very good time there, somewhere maybe far in South America somewhere. And imagine we get deported back, we say, okay, we're going to send you back to India. We think, okay, I have my wife is there, my children are there, my house is there, my car is there, and so we say, okay, it's not too bad, we want to come back. But imagine being deported to some other country somewhere where we don't know, we don't have anything. We'll be worried. Sahaba, they invested in Jannah. When they were going to Jannah, they were happy that we be deported to Jannah. That's a good thing. One subhanallah, you say you get a tree planted in Jannah. How many subhanallah did you say? Some of Sahaba said thousands and thousands of times they used to say subhanallah in a day. How many palaces in Jannah they accumulated? Sahaba, they were greedy for the akhirah. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that for each step, walk into the masjid, you get one reward. Sahaba, they started taking small steps. They could come to the masjid in 100 steps. They would start coming in 200 steps. So they want more reward. This is how greedy they were for the akhirah. For dunya, some of them, they couldn't count past 10. They didn't want dunya. What is the condition of my heart? Because no one can see into each other's hearts. If you can all look into my own heart, how much love of dunya is in my heart? Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they made an effort on this yaqeen in their heart, that how this yaqeen could be corrected about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with Sahaba, he taught them, they would sit hours and hours and hours on end and speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His greatness, about His qudrat, about His sifat. This is the first thing of Iman. All the time in Makkah was spent doing this. Salah, Roza, Hajj, these things came afterwards. They would sit and talk hours and hours and hours on end about these things. About the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When their yaqeen was strong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has started. Two things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's promises are with the belief in the heart and with the actions coming from the body. As this tells us again and again and again. The things out there, they have nothing to do with anything. Today we've forgotten and we're working on all the things out there to make my life a peaceful now, to make your life better. What matters is this person here. What is in the heart and what are the actions coming from this person? Sahaba radiallahu anhu, they made effort on this. They made so much effort that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became their friend who was very close to them. They could gain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Battle of Badr, with 313 Sahaba. Through that Iman and Amal, they managed to gain the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent angels. Angels came in many of the battles. In the Battle of Badr, they actually participated as well. Jibreel alayhi salam came, and he was dressed as Hazrat Zubair radiallahu anhu, wearing the same Brahmapura Imam like Hazrat Zubair radiallahu anhu. One Sahabi, he captures Hazrat Abbas radiallahu anhu, takes him to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, I captured him. This Sahabi is very short and very weak. Hazrat Abbas radiallahu anhu, some narration mentioned, he was so tall, so big that when he would sit on a horse, his feet would touch the ground. He used to call his slave from many miles away. He used to shout and he used to hear it. Such a big, strong. So he's saying to Nabi sallallahu at that time, Hazrat Abbas radiallahu anhu was not Muslim. He's saying to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's not him, it was someone else who captured him. Sahaba, they break in branches from the trees. They don't have no weapons, nothing. Forget weapons, they barely have any clothes. Some of them just one sheet to wrap around them. They're just breaking branches of the trees. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is helping.